Hi guys, it's me. Today I'm going to be talking about Graceling by Kristen Kershaw. This is a young adult fantasy novel. If you don't know what this book is about, basically in this world, some children are born with two different colored eyes. Pretty much these kids that are born with two different eye colors are called Gracelings because they are graced with certain abilities or talents. Basically they just have heightened abilities. You can be graced with all kinds of things. Some people are graced with cooking. They'll be phenomenal cooks. Some people are graced with fighting. Some people are mind readers. And then some of the graces are pretty much useless, like graced with climbing trees or graced with being able to hold your breath underwater for a long amount of time. You know what I mean? They won't really figure out what their grace is until they're about 12 years old. So basically what the kingdom does is they take away all of the graced kids until they kind of come into their grace and figure out what their ability is. And then the king will decide whether they're useful to him or not. And if they're not useful, they'll just send them back to their family. All of these graced kids essentially just become the king's property until he decides whether they're useful or not. But our main character, Katsa, is graced with killing. And I think she's the king's niece. That's essentially the premise of this book. If it sounds interesting to you, maybe go check it out. The first half of this video is going to be non-spoiler. Like always, you're not going to be genuinely spoiled for anything significant in the spot. But if you're sensitive to any kind of spoiler, just go away now. As for my feelings on the book, I think this book isn't anything special. It's not bad, but it's not really good, you know? I would recommend 100 other fantasy books before I recommend this to people. That being said though, it's not a really terrible book and oh my god, don't read it. I'm just saying there are better books out there. I really like the concept of this book. I think it was a very clever concept with the graces and stuff and that whole system. I guess I'm just disappointed with how the story actually unfolded. It didn't really go anywhere. The story itself, the plot of this book, pretty run-of-the-mill in my eyes. I think it's literally a plot that's been done before in a million other fantasy books. The characters weren't that strong either, in my opinion. These are characters that I think you would stop caring about the second you finish the last page and close the book, you know? You'd be like, oh, there we go, I finished the book. All of my fucks about the characters have just left my body. They don't really leave an impact. It sounds like I'm saying that this book is bad, but it's not bad, it's just meh. I'm a little bit disappointed, not gonna lie. I thought it had such a strong concept. I wish we made the graces and the abilities and all of that more of a focal point instead of just hey, we've got this really cool concept here, but we're just gonna not really talk about it. And we're just gonna spend the majority of the book following this really generic, overdone, not interesting plot. The romance in this book was just weird. It came out of nowhere. This is so insta-lovey, holy fucking shit. I am planning on making another full review for the second book, Fire, anyway. But I just want to say in this review, you can read them out of order because they don't follow the same characters and they're set in different time periods. So it doesn't really matter. Honestly, I would suggest reading this one and not this one because this was so average. This had a lot more. It still wasn't great, but it had a lot more substance than this one did. The romance didn't just come out of fucking nowhere like this one's did. Kristen Kershaw's writing, in general, definitely gets a lot better somewhere between these books. Every problem I had with this was fixed in this, you know? Everything to do with her writing and her shitty romance and all of that crap was done so much better in this book. So I would honestly say read this one, don't read this. This is honestly a waste of time. This one is okay. This one is okay. Still, overall, wouldn't recommend this series. So many better books out there, but if you're gonna read one of them, read this one instead. I guess that's everything that I would consider not a spoiler. If you haven't read the book and you are planning on reading the book, I would stop watching here because now I'm gonna talk about specific scenes and stuff. So if you wanna go read the book and then come back and see what I had to say about the rest of it, you can. Otherwise, if you aren't gonna read it or you don't care about spoilers, feel free to keep watching. I'm not really going to spend too much time talking about spoilers because I actually don't really care about a lot of the things that happen in this book. But there was one thing that kind of irked me that is technically a spoiler, so I didn't want to say it before. but was this weird constant evolution with the Graces. Eventually we learn that Katz's Grace is actually survival and not killing, which definitely makes a lot more sense for some of the things that happened in the plot that I was like, what the fuck, this makes no sense. Like, I know she's graced with survival, but like, there's being graced with survival and then just like turning into the fucking Terminator or some shit. She literally runs through the snow for like probably a few hours, carrying a small child on her back, not wearing any like warm clothing. She's been like starved, she barely slept, barely eaten, and she's still like exhausting all of her energy like running through the snow. She fights a fucking mountain lion at one point, is injured. Somehow we're still supposed to believe that like it's plausible for her to do that. Even being graced with survival, like that, you shouldn't be able to do that, like you'd die. The whole like journey through the snow area, just wanted it to be over. Like it wasn't interesting, really. It honestly was just like 100 pages of them being cold and not having food. But I will give credit to the fact that while we were going through the whole snow area, probably doesn't make any sense, but like reading about them going through the snow and them like freezing and like being super cold, I think it was written really like vividly and described so well that like I, as the reader, also felt cold while reading about them going through the snow. Like, I don't know. Could also be coupled with the fact that it was the middle of winter when I read this book. So like I actually was cold as well, but like I really felt it. Yeah, anyway, what I was saying before though, Poe's grace. First of all, the most predictable plot twist. Like, I feel like everyone saw that coming where they were like, oh, Poe is a mind reader. And I was like, no fucking shit. His grace was really interesting. I really liked learning about that. He could hear people's thoughts, but I really liked how it was limited, you know? He could hear people's thoughts, but only when they were about him. It wasn't just like, I'm a mind reader and I can read everyone's thoughts and know everything, because every problem would just be resolved in 2 seconds. And he can also sense like where people are. He can sense that I'm pacing back and forward in the room next to him. But if I were to walk to the other end of the kingdom, he wouldn't be able to sense me anymore. So like there was a limit to his range as well, which I think was interesting. I really liked his grace in the beginning of the book. But then halfway through, it's like his grace was constantly evolving into something more convenient for the circumstances. Oh, they're getting shot at by arrows. Oh, guess what? Poe can sense arrows now as well. Like he can tell when he's about to get hit by an arrow. So now he can dodge them. How convenient at the end when it's like a plot twist that Poe is blind. But don't worry, because his grace has conveniently shapeshifted into he can sense everything now, all at once. People's thoughts, where things are. He can sense the outline of this tree. He's blind, but he can basically see because his grace has evolved into this amazing thing that pretty much gives him vision even though he can't see. They tried to play it off as the whole like, oh, now that one of his senses is gone, it's really allowed his other sense to become heightened. Oh yeah, and just to make the book even more average and not interesting, we didn't even get like some awesome fight scene face-off with King Lek at the end. This whole boring journey for us to get to King Lek so that she can like kill him and fight him and stuff. And there's this whole build-up about, is she going to be able to tell that he's lying to her because he can control her thoughts? King Lek's ability is to control thoughts. And then we get to the kingdom and then, oh no, King Lek is already there. And I was like, oh shit, there's gonna be a face-off, like, oh my god. But then literally all that happens, this villain that has been built up the whole book, that has just like controlled so many people and caused so much destruction and chaos, is killed in a moment at the end by Katza. There was no really cool finale or anything. It was literally a calm conversation and then she just throws a knife at him and he dies. And I was like, I was robbed. I was fucking robbed of a finale. Like, what is happening right now? Did I literally read 460 pages only for it to end like this? Bye. Honestly, bye. To sum it all up, this book was just a very underwhelming experience all round. That's pretty much all I've got to say on this. Thank you for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.